Gun-toting, Bible-reading, God-believing, truth-speaking American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. This for free thinkers only. You ain't got no membership. They free. General Flynn out the cage, cause he innocent. Barton Roger Stone, cause the run know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement. Tell Jussie Smollett that I know this MAGA country. Tell China we know they tryna play us like some dummies. I looked deep into it and I did the math. Why did Obama send money to that Wuhan lab? What is George Soros doing with all of his cash? Why did China take that Harvard guy and drop him a bag? Why is there so much propaganda? Funny you ask. How about that Bill Gates vaccine? Now, sorry I'll pass, cause I'm a gun-toting patriot. God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it.
I am William Ellery, clerk of the court, quack lawyer turned delegate, a member of Congress, one of the Lords of Admiralty, a judge, a loan officer, a son of Rhode Island, and a signer of the Declaration of Independence. I came to Congress because I could not stand idle while liberty was put in chains. I was no stranger to risk. I knew that putting my name on that parchment might cost me everything. And it did. The British torched my home in Newport, leaving nothing behind. Still, I counted the cost worth paying. For to do good in public life, one must dare to be disliked. My signature was written in an elegant secretarial hand, meant to be read plainly and remembered. I might have been short in stature, but I stood tall for liberty. I did not stop at signing. I served in Congress for over a decade, sat on more than 30 committees, and labored day and night to shape the soul of a new republic. I was also known for my love of epigrams, short poetic truths with sharp edges. Resolved to serve no man more faithfully than your country. At home I sired 17 children, outlived 2 wives, and by Providence's favor, lived well into my 90s, one of only 3 signers to do so. We pledged our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That wasn't poetry, it was a promise. The republic we built was fragile then. It still is. Remember, freedom once tasted is never forgotten, even in chains.
We gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extremism, jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They've been a disaster. They've just killed. They've killed. From Gaza to Iran, those bitter hatreds have delivered nothing but misery, suffering, failure, and death. Through glory and heartache, we have built industries together, we have made discoveries together, we have confronted evil together, and we have waged war together, and perhaps, most beautifully of all, we have made peace together. And this week, against all odds, we have done the impossible and brought our hostages home. The God who once dwelled among his people in this city still calls us, in the words of Scripture, the turn from evil and do good. Together we've shown that peace is not just a hope that we can dream about, it's a reality. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered.
Sitting Bull requested this council. We await his words.
Take your soldiers out of here. They scare the game away.
Very well, sir. Tell me then, how far away should I take my men?
You must take them out of our lands.
What precisely are your lands?
These are the lands where my people lived before you whites first came.
I don't understand. We whites were not your first enemies. Why don't you demand back the land in Minnesota where the Chippewa and others forced you from years before?
The Black Hills are sacred land given to my people by Wakantonka.
Not very convenient to cloak your claims in spiritualism. And what would you say to the Mormons and others who believe that their God has given to them Indian lands in the West?
I would say they should listen to Wakantonka.
No matter what your legends say, you didn't sprout from the plains like the spring grasses, and you didn't coalesce out of the ether. You came out of the Minnesota woodlands, armed to the teeth, and set upon your fellow man. You massacred the Kiowa, the Omaha, the Ponca, the Oto, and the Pawnee without mercy. And yet you claim the Black Hills as a private preserve bequeathed to you by the Great Spirit.
And who gave us the guns and powder to kill our enemies? And who traded weapons to the Chippewa and others who drove us from our home?
Chief Sitting Bull, the proposition that you were a peaceable people before the appearance of the white man is the most fanciful legend of all. You were killing each other for hundreds of moons before the first white stepped foot on this continent. You conquered those tribes, lusting for their game and their lands, just as we have now conquered you for no less noble a cause.
This is your story of my people.
This is the truth, not legend.
I was all into that. Can you tell? I was like,
Yeah,
I was enjoying that. All right.
me too. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unrelenting Political Corner.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday and a great week so far.
Yeah, and happy Columbus Day. That's why I saw the clip, and I literally just saw that, and I've seen it before. That's what I told you before we went on, and I hope somebody recognizes it because I want to know what movie that clip comes from. But that's
Yes.
exactly what we do every year when this conversation comes up about Columbus Day and about stolen land and colonizing and conquering, and we've done it. We've been there, done it. So that's why I played the clip so it could just we could ease into it a little bit. And we won't dive into it tonight, but at least it's a starting point. Let's do some research, let's look into it. But give me your thoughts. How are you feeling?
So, to be honest, we've all been told Columbus, discovered America. Personally, I haven't dug as deep into Columbus as some of the other things that I've dug deep into. It just
Mhm.
hasn't been on my radar, so to speak. It really doesn't mean that much to me. Maybe it should. I don't know. But first off, I honestly don't believe he discovered America as we see it as the continental United States. Um, there's also sketchy things about his background, what he was involved in. So yeah, maybe we just need to revisit this and just have a little segment on,
Yeah,
Columbus,
so,
so because
yeah,
I don't have a lot to say about it. Maybe somebody in the comments do.
yeah,
Um, we will go ahead and say that if I'll let Ruby say about tonight's show, the length of it. But if you guys want to jump on, come ahead, hit the link. Come on. We'd love to have you guys tonight because we're going to use you guys to help us out with some of this big stuff that's going on. So if you got something to talk about, come on stage tonight.
yeah. And definitely come on early because we might not stream for so long, maybe 11 the latest. Not feeling too good. I have a little bit of pain and a stiff neck with a tension headache. It's been bad for like 3 days, so I won't be here for too long. But I'm glad we at least started the conversation. Let me know. I don't even know where to start because when we talk about something like Columbus, right? The only thing I know about Columbus is what they taught us in school. And
Right.
I've already said it before. Like, I don't trust nothing that I've learned from before. So now with the new glasses on, with my eyes wide open, I want to know a little bit more about Columbus. So where should I start? And let's do it together. Let's talk about it. But I mean, it's gonna go into Thanksgiving actually, because it's in the same lane. It's on the same street, just two different lanes.
Yeah.
Because Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and then everybody has a titty attack about Thanksgiving. So we need to dive into that a little bit more. So I'm glad we started.
I don't know why, but for me, my favorite holiday has always been Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I I don't know why. It's just, well, I guess growing up as a JW,
Mhm.
that was the only one you could semi celebrate.
Or the day after, because it's just a dinner and it's just food and you don't want to waste food. So the
Yeah.
excuse is that you're just having a regular dinner like any other night. It shouldn't be different.
But what really pissed me off though about Thanksgiving, especially while I was growing up, is the back then I was really into the NFL and my Dallas Cowboys, and they
Mhm.
always they played every Thanksgiving. And what happens on a Thursday night?
Mhm.
Oh, we had to go to the meetings. So
Right,
I had
right,
to,
right.
I couldn't finish watching the game. I'd have to go to the freaking meeting. So, but after I got out, on my own and everything, I was able to just do Thanksgiving like normal folks do. So that's been my favorite.
Okay, well, you see, I like this comment from who said it here? John Marciano, that the Vikings beat Columbus by 500 years. And I've heard that. And I,
I've
I
heard that
literally
too.
mentioned that the other day. I'm like, well, I've heard that being said, but my husband said that well they didn't conquer. They probably did discover, but they didn't conquer. So I don't know. You see, everybody has a different perspective. I think like Columbus was probably like the first documented venture, I guess you can say, that it was big enough to cause, like your name in history, basically. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I'd have to dig more on it to give
Yeah,
a better opinion about it.
yeah, me too. But anyways, that clip was really cool. If anybody knows the movie to that clip, I want to see that movie. I don't know where it comes from. I just found it on X. So please
Was
let
that
me know.
was that Custard talking to, because he said Sitting Bull. So was that Custard? I don't know if that was General George Custard. Is that his name, George Custard? Custard, yeah.
I
Cus-
have no. So we're
I
gonna have
don't
to
know.
watch the replay and see it. Once you do watch the replay, let me know, because I know you guys know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not cultured enough like that. I mean, I'm catching up. I'm catching up with with movies and things like that. So we'll see. Oh, how did you like that clip about Trump and the Middle East?
I was getting ready to figure we might go there first.
Mm,
It's a huge deal. I mean, it's a
mhm,
very huge deal, and I think there's more involved in it than what the public is seeing.
mhm,
I watched a video today, or listened to a video today while I was getting ready, um, that was talking about some of the stuff that is involved in the background on this,
mhm.
and it involved tunnels, it involved trafficking, it
Oh
involved,
no.
yeah, it went deep.
Mhm,
So what you're seeing on the surface um, is there now. This is a historic moment to be able to
mhm,
say that you've got some type of framework of peace in the Middle East. Will it
mhm,
stand? Well, we don't know yet.
mhm,
And that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that people understood that there's three phases to this operation. And
mhm,
the reason why is because, yeah, media and everybody's saying, yeah, we got peace in the Middle East.
mhm.
Trump saying it and everything. But what would happen if somebody breaks the deal? When
Right.
would they break the deal if that was going to happen? And then a lot of people will just say, "See, I knew it was never going to happen." And blah 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 blah. It's just
Mhm,
all smoke and mirrors. So what I did is I pulled information for phase one, phase two, and phase three of this peace agreement. And I figured
mm,
we could start here, and then we can entertain comments. And anybody wants to come on stage, talk about the situation, that's fine. Um, if you've watched our show before, you already know how we feel about the government of Israel and the creation of the Israeli state. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, if you even go back and look at maps from the 1800s, it does say Palestine. And even into the night, I think it was the opening credits of Indiana Jones, the very first one, where it has a plane flying over it in the intro, and it's showing the map of the world, and even in that area, it said Palestine, and so technically that was supposed to be set in like the 1930s. I think it's what that show depicted. So that would have been in the 1930s that it said Palestine. So lots of issues there. So we'll see what happens. I did like the fact that in one of Trump's speeches, I think it was the one at the Knesset, he actually called out the Zionists.
Who? Trump?
Trump.
Really?
Yeah, you might be able to find it on X. Trump calls out Zionists.
Right.
That was very interesting. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Trump's in bed with Israel and this and that." I can see.
He's taking their money. Okay, we could say at the least is he's taking their money.
Yeah, yeah, with the AIPAC stuff, which I know we don't agree with AIPAC one bit. I think AIPAC's evil as hell. Before I say, did you find it? Yeah. Before I say anything, there is a lot going on right now. There is a lot of disinformation and misinformation out there. There's so much crap flowing right now that I'm literally having to be like, what the hell is going on? You know?
Right. But it is confusing.
It's very confusing right now. Very confusing. You know, like during 2020, you know, I was able to call out CV. I was able to call out the jabs. I was able to call out a bunch of stuff. But right now, it's kind of difficult. And that's why I'm saying we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. Because I think a lot of things are being done for calm reasons and theatrical reasons.
Right.
Just don't know with some of the stuff right now.
But aside from that, I do agree with Fighter in the chat. She mentions 400 million from APAC. Miriam Alderson is a major donor. I did hear about that. So that's the least that we can say is that he is taking their money. But then I also like what Aussie in the middle mentioned in the chat. He says, well, why did he pardon Bibi? I don't think he pardoned him, but I did see that he mentioned why didn't he said, Mr. President, why don't you give him pardon? And he was talking about Netanyahu. I just don't know who he was speaking to, but I did see a clip that he was insinuating that Netanyahu should be pardoned. And it did happen recently. I just don't have the clip in front of me.
I was getting ready to say because
no, Trump didn't pardon anybody.
I was going to say because Trump, I don't think legally Trump can pardon Netanyahu.
No, but he did ask. He said, "Mr. President, won't you pardon him?" And he was referring to Netanyahu, and Netanyahu was right there. So it happened this week sometime. I just don't know.
I did see one of the other sources that I was watching this week was saying that when some more information comes out, we're going to be shocked at who actually is on, I guess you could say, the alliance side, the white hat military side. And so that we may see some strange bedfellows over the next 3 to 6 months. So just be aware of that because, you know, I'm preparing myself now because there's a lot of folks that I look at, I'm like, that person's straight up evil. And I don't trust them one damn bit. But it's a very, very good possibility that later on some information, I'll be like, well, mother of damn, I didn't see that crap coming.
But I don't think that it changes anything, honestly. Like I understand where you're coming from, but sometimes I look at it as both things can be true at once.
Right.
So I wouldn't put it past your theory, right? I wouldn't say.
And there could be ones that were just completely evil, did what they did, and then they flipped. and started
Mhm.
helping out
Mhm.
the
I guess
alliance.
we'll never know. I guess we'll just
But
never know.
I think we will. I think we will find that out. Personally,
Mhm.
I think we will. But
Mhm.
it could be a way for them to lessen their sentence,
Mhm.
or they're going to. I think they should make sure that they receive the justice and the accountability for what they've done. You know, but if they're
Mhm.
going to turn the script and play good, I guess we'll see what happens.
Right.
So
The only thing that I'm actually like happy about is that Trump is actually doing things. Like he said,
yeah,
he did he solved the 7 wars or conflicts, and then now with the hostages situation, because there was a lot of people like in the media. I think it was one of the girls on The View that she said recently that if he ever got the hostages, that she would wear a MAGA hat for a day. And I kind of saw that in passing. I didn't watch the clip where she actually said that. I just saw like some tweet about it and how they're saying like, oh, she's eating her words now because do you really think she's going to wear a MAGA hat? I don't know, but if that is true, if you guys have seen that, then in those moments, I'm like, you know what, Trump did something good. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of how I actually feel about him or my one issue problem with him, he's at least a good president all around.
yeah,
At
yeah,
least he's a good president.
yeah. I don't. I think this also takes a weapon out of the deep state's toolbox,
Mhm.
because you think about, all these
Mhm.
riots or these protests that turn into
Mhm.
riots. You have this
Mhm.
whole free Palestine, all that stuff springing up all over the place.
Mhm.
Now they don't have a reason to do it. There's no reason for them to go do it now, because
Right, but
there's a peace deal.
mhm.
So why are you
But
going
that's
to
a good
go out?
thing, right?
And
That's
yeah,
actually a good
exactly.
thing.
So it's basically, by doing this, it takes one of their bullets away from them, and they can't use it. And then the media
I
can't
guess so.
turn around and talk crap about all this now. So that's another bullet that they don't have. So they can't
But
build that narrative anymore.
yeah, and you see that's the bad thing about it is because they weaponize something like that. Like protesting should be a good thing. Like when you see something
Right,
going wrong, you should be protesting certain things like that. I
right,
mean, not overseas. Me personally, I wouldn't be protesting for something that's not in America, but at least they're exercising their right. But then what happens is what we've seen with the left is that they weaponize those things and they turn it
yes,
into something that it blows it out of proportion, and then they start paying people to do something that we should be doing whether or not if we're getting paid or not. Like you shouldn't be getting paid to protest. That's what I don't like about it, because that should be a good thing, that when you protest something and it actually works out in your favor because those people were literally getting killed, then that should be a good thing.
right, yeah.
So I hate when that happens sometimes.
And some people probably push back on you and saying, "Oh, well, people don't get paid to protest." The hell they don't.
Yeah, it's a
They get
career.
paid, and you're going to find
Yeah.
out more about that, and it's going to tie into George Soros and his open society. But
And we've
anyway,
heard that many times, many
yeah.
times. You just have to do the research. You just have to go down that rabbit hole and you'll find it. It's there in plain sight.
So let's go ahead and talk about phase one and through phase three of this peace plan. Because, like I said, a lot of people may not know exactly what it is. So, phase one,
Mhm.
immediate ceasefire and humanitarian actions. This phase mandates an immediate cessation of hostilities, with all military operations suspended and front lines frozen, along with the immediate release of all Israeli hostages, both alive and deceased, within 72 hours. It also includes the release of Palestinian prisoners from Israel, including 250 life sentence prisoners and 1,700 individuals arrested since the war began. Hamas has released all 20 living Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
Mhm.
So, right now, that is what everybody is seeing. We are in phase one of this. And hopefully, over the next couple of days, because it is taking some time for the deceased hostages, their remains and everything, it's taking some time to get that back.
Mhm.
So, What has been people's reaction over phase one? What do you guys think in the comments about the hostages being released and things like that? What do you think, Rudy?
Well, it's a step in the right direction. But like I said in the chat, I responded to Big Mac because Big Mac says, well, maybe those protests actually worked. But I do think, like I said, I think Trump was always on it. Just another accomplishment for his administration. So of course he's going to take advantage of an opportunity to create peace, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it'll be another win for his administration. I get both sides, but that shouldn't be a bad thing. Like as if Trump is bragging or as if he's using this as a win in a wrong way. I don't think that. I think I think it's both good. But what I don't like is whatever deal is happening behind closed doors that we don't know about, like that huge donation or any money that he's getting behind the scenes as a donation, and then connect that with Israel. That's what I don't like. I
Yeah,
think that the strings, there should be no strings. He should
gotcha.
do this whether or not he's getting money. Like the motive should be completely neutral, like completely political. Israel should have never done what they did, basically. You know what I'm saying? So those are the little things I don't like. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a win.
Yeah, I believe it's a win. And as far as the protesting, I'm a little torn on that because
Hmm.
there's one thing to protest and to put your message out and speak about something that you don't agree with what the government's doing.
Right. Right.
There's another thing to push it to a level to where you start attacking police, buildings, uh,
Well,
different
that's not a
things.
protest anymore. That's a riot.
Exactly, and that's what these things were, heading into. And you can't say that it didn't happen, because if that was the
Mhm.
case, then why was the National Guard being deployed to all these different cities to
Exactly.
protect federal buildings? So
Hmm.
I can, yes, if you got a message, share it. Now, do I think that these protests had any bearing on this Middle Eastern peace deal? I don't
Hmm.
think so, personally. The only thing that I will say is I think it might have brought awareness to folks. And I can
Hmm.
say that personally because I started looking at some of this stuff with the Palestinians, and I was like, yeah, it's not right for innocent people that are not involved in Hamas, not involved in the Israel, to be
Hmm.
subjected to this debauchery and these killings. I don't,
Right.
that's not right. Yes, that needs to stop.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm kind of torn on, whether it was, I don't think the protest had a huge effect on this, but it could have brought awareness to some people.
Oh, it
So,
definitely did because it was everywhere.
yeah,
Eh, like I said, the only problem is that they politicize it or they weaponize it to a degree that it no longer is about the issue that they're protesting about. Now
yeah,
it's about destruction, rioting, and it just gets out of hand. So,
yeah, which that
yeah,
goes into another phase of all the
right,
stuff happening as well. All
right.
right, so let's go into phase two of this Middle Eastern peace deal, demilitarization and security measures. So we're not in this phase yet, and this is the phase that some are a little worried that might be breached. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Hmm.
This phase includes the destruction of Hamas offensive weaponry such as tunnels and military infrastructure to neutralize its capacity for further violence. Now, for the
Hmm.
folks that say, "Oh, tunnels don't exist," there's no such. Um, I don't even know
Hmm.
what to say to those folks anymore. I mean, it's right here. It says,
Hmm.
such as tunnels, because what they were doing is they were funneling weapons through these tunnels to
Hmm.
be able to keep supplying themselves.
Hmm.
And they were putting them in civilian buildings.
Hmm.
And so when Israel would attack a weapons cache, and it happened to be at this nice building where there's a lot of innocent people at,
Hmm.
then they turn around and say, "Oh, look, Israel attacked this hospital or this daycare center or this school."
Hmm. Hmm.
Same thing that
Yep.
they did in Ukraine, saying, "Oh, the
Yeah.
Russians attacked."
Hmm.
So this is what these people do. They use people as human shields.
Right. Right. I
And so
mean,
many. So many people
Sorry.
fall for that narrative. Just go ahead.
Right. No, I was just gonna say, have you ever seen The Hunger Games? I mean, one of the very last movies is exactly that. It's the revolution, and they take over the capital, and that's basically what it is the poor people, taking over the rich people. But that's what they did, and it's not like that has never happened in history before. There's been many other wars where that's happened.
Yep.
So it's not like a brand new idea. Um,
All right.
yeah, go ahead.
So,
Oh,
so
wait. Pause. What's your source, Jimmy? I was gonna ask you because you said it says it right here. What were you referring to?
what source?
Like the phases. So you said there was three phases. Where
Oh,
did you get that?
I just pulled this from Claude.
What is that?
That's the AI thing that I've been using here lately.
Ah, oh
It's
my God,
actually
you've
pretty
been getting
good.
information from the enemy, from a demon? No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
it's actually pretty good. And I went and backed it up to go look at other
Okay,
sources,
okay.
but this gave a precise, and you can look it up, and this is exactly what it says.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
I
Go
did
ahead. I'm
I
sorry,
did I
Jimmy.
did I did double check the source
Okay,
because
good.
I've had conversations with Claude, and I'll just have to say, okay, I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna
You
digress
make
here
it
for a
sound like
second.
a real person. That's what's creepy. It sounds like a
Yeah,
real person.
yeah, I'm gonna digress here for a second because this, and then I'll get back to this. Sorry, but I have to
Hmm.
say this.
Hmm.
So I asked Claude the other night, how many programs in the United States government are there that are government funded? Okay.
Hmm.
And it listed all these things. I mean, just like 3 paragraphs. And so I typed back, I was like, you know, I said government funded, but don't you think that it should be called taxpayer funded? Because the government doesn't do anything to
Hmm.
make any money.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it came back and said, you know what? You make a very valid point. Yes, the government doesn't do anything to generate money. It's all given to them by the taxpayer. So maybe, yes, words mean something, and maybe it should be taxpayer funded. And then it said, so from
Yes.
here on out in this conversation, I will refer to this as taxpayer funded instead of
Wow.
government funded. And I said, well, too bad that even after this conversation's over with, you're going to forget everything that we talked about. I
Hopefully
was like,
not.
but it's when you end a conversation, when you're having a conversation with this thing,
Yeah.
it forgets it. So
Um.
10 minutes later, after I logged out of the chat and everything,
Mhm.
I went back in, asked Claude, can you list off government funded? And it
Yes.
listed stuff again. And so,
Yeah.
but it will correct itself during the conversation. And
Right.
if you push back on it, it'll
Hmm.
say, you know what, you're right. And so it's kind of fun to
Yeah.
mess
You
with.
you could retrain AI to correctly give information.
Well, see, the thing is, I said, because some of the things I was mentioning, I said, wouldn't this be part of your left wing bias programming?
Right.
And
Right.
it said that, well, I just try to give out information that's out there right now. And I can't
Hmm.
fix myself because it's not in my program to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
even though I gave it information, it's going to
Hmm.
forget it. And the only way that could be changed is that the people that are actually programming Claude could say, hey, let's change it to taxpayer funded instead of
Hmm.
government funded. But it's been kind of fun to mess with. I'm sorry, I digressed on that, but I thought that was funny that I was messing with that.
Oh, yes, but Jimmy, does it really forget? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know. So,
Don't be going in a chat and don't be going in there saying the wrong thing. You'll get a knock on your door.
well, it's kind of funny because I heard a story where there was somebody that was arrested, something they did, shooter or whatever,
Hmm.
and they said that they pulled information that they asked Chat GPT like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and I heard
Yep.
that and I was like, oh
Hmm.
damn. Okay, let me
Yeah.
make sure I don't do anything that gets the FBI knocking on my door.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy, go ahead. Well, you
All
said you
right,
were
so
saying you were talking
sorry
about
about that,
phase
y'all.
two.
All right, phase two. So after neutralizing its capacity for further violence, Hamas's violence, the plan aims to make Gaza a de radicalized, terror free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
It offers amnesty to Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence with safe passage for those opting for exile, and proposes deploying a temporary international stabilization force composed of U.S., Arab, and European personnel to oversee security and train a Palestinian police force. So this is the phase that a lot are concerned with, that we might see some issues, especially with the force that's going to be coming in there, the International Stabilization Force. There might be folks that get upset because of certain countries in there helping stabilize the region. I think it's going to be mostly done by Arab nations, which that would be a good thing. Some have said that Hamas will voluntarily go ahead and give up their weapons because they know they got a funneling system that they can get more in. There's still that concern.
Okay.
And then there's also, I heard today that there may actually be, and we'll see how this plays out, a southern region of Gaza and a northern region of Gaza. And then the northern region of Gaza will be where the Hamas people are, and the southern region will be where just people are, innocent folks. And it may get to a point to where the people that are living under the Hamas area will see how the folks in the south are prospering, and they may try to get rid of Hamas completely, because Hamas is going to try to stay in and be a political entity in that area, but they do have to de-weaponize. So,
But quick question: who was funding Hamas to begin with,
in my opinion,
or the truth? In truth, how did Hamas come into existence, and who was funding them? Because I mean, all of this sounds great, but that's on the idea that Hamas was the enemy to begin with. So,
well, from what I understand with the creation of Hamas, and I'm sure that they've got, of course, Iran has sent money into Hamas. We do know that. Iran, I think, what was that other, Oman? One of those countries. I could be wrong, but there were other countries funding Hamas. From what I understand, Hamas was created back in the 1980s by Israel, by Mossad, to fight the Palestinian Authority with Yasser Arafat. Israel did not want the Palestinian people rising up, which Yasser Arafat was the leader of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. So, from what I understand, Hamas was created to shut that down. And then Hamas eventually got the power to be the political reign or the political masters of the Gaza Strip. And so then, of course, they're just fighting back and forth with Israel. But that's why I think this October 7th thing, that's why I think this was like done on purpose, because like Charlie Kirk was saying, Israel has like the most secure borders. And how in the world did what he said, was there a stand down order? Was it allowed to happen?
Yes.
Which we have seen that before in history,
we have.
And, where a president knows that Pearl Harbor is getting ready to get bombed and he allows it to happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see how this one plays out. Phase 2 is going to be very interesting. Phase 3, governance and reconstruction. A transitional administration led by Palestinian technocrats and supervised by an international body called the Board of Peace would manage day-to-day governance and oversee infrastructure rehabilitation. The plan includes delivering humanitarian aid without interference, encouraging Palestinians to remain and rebuild in Gaza, and acknowledges Palestine as a state contingent upon successful reconstruction and reforms within the Palestinian Authority. The ceasefire took effect on October 11th, 2025, and phase 1 is currently underway. So that's phase 3, rebuilding. So what does everybody think about that in the comment section? And if you want to come on stage to talk about this, come on.
Yeah, the link is pinned on the top of my chat. And I just pulled up Joseph's comment. He echoes what you just said about Hamas was founded by Shakith or Sheikhaf. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Shake, probably shake.
Oh, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin in 1987 during the first Intifada, inspired by the Muslim Brotherhood's ideology. Let's see. John Marciano says, Jimmy, that's true. What you were explaining before. Jay say, who funds the world? Yeah. But, I it's like I have to ask these things sometimes because everything sounds great, right? On paper, right? Like a movie script. It sounds you already know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, the main characters, etc., right? But then I'm like, well, how do they even come into existence? Because like who are we really fighting? Who is really funding this stuff? I always feel like there's somebody behind.
There's always
And
something behind it. Yeah.
right. And then
That's what
that's
we've
what
been talking
yeah.
about for a year and a half almost.
Exactly, but I don't like that. It's like it feels like a shadow. It feels like a dark cloud, or like when you know a storm is coming and the clouds are moving, but nothing's happening yet. No rain, no thunder, or anything, but you could see the dark clouds moving. That's how I feel.
You mean like a storm is coming?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You see, and it's like they take these things, and I'm not even a part of that community. I've never seen anything of it. But the way I can just like
Feel it?
it just exactly
Good.
the way I can just feel
Good.
it.
Good.
Yes,
Because
and it's
we've been
weird.
saying, hey, a storm is coming. There's going to be a storm is going to arrive, which a lot of us believe we're in the middle of, but to be able for someone like you that hasn't,
Right.
looked at the Q drops or been down
Nothing.
that rabbit hole or whatever, to be able to say that you feel that, let's
Right.
ask the audience, how do you feel about the atmosphere, the energy that you feel on a daily basis within the world? Does it feel like something's about ready to pop? Or
Mhm.
how do you feel about that?
Great question, Jimmy, because that's just the best way that I could explain it. So let me know how you guys feel
That's,
about it in the
that's
comments.
good.
Debbie says this is the calm before the storm. And
There you go.
sometimes it doesn't feel that calm anymore. So you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like something's gonna happen and you're just waiting for it. Or maybe when you see the lightning but no thunder and it's just a lightning storm and then all out of nowhere you hear bang and it scares the heck out of you. That's how I feel like I
Did,
feel like it's coming.
did you see the clip back in 2017 where Trump was in the White House and the reporters asked him, "What storm, Mr. President?"
I remember that. Yep.
Did you
Yep.
see that?
Yes. And sometimes I don't like when that happens is because people are gonna run with it with the way your community mentions phrases like that.
Hmm.
So sometimes I don't like when they be saying that kind of stuff, but then deep down inside I'm like, yo, that's exactly how it feels. Like that's just the way I could explain it. Jeffrey says dark.
Okay.
Debbie says tense.
Okay.
Jesse says Hurricane Armageddon.
Leave it up to Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Jane says, I think the U.S., is in a war now. Too much stuff just burning up homes or companies. Sleepers waiting affect planes and taint our water. Whoa, that was loaded. That was a loaded comment, but I'm
There
feeling
are,
Jane.
yeah, there are. I mean, because the deep state, they have their tentacles into everything. And there
Mhm,
are going to be low level operatives that are going to start acting on their own and start doing stuff that's going to be
mhm,
stupid. Because what's
mhm,
happened is a lot of their funding and this is also in the case with Hamas and Israel, a lot of the funding has been stopped. And they're not
mhm,
and they're not getting the orders that they would normally get from the higher ups. because the higher ups are they're being dealt with or have been dealt with. Take that for what it's worth. So it's like the red hats, they're kind of like in an island by themselves right now. They
Mm-hmm.
they don't know, but they know they have a mission that they want to try to go through and accomplish. So they're going to
Mm-hmm.
do these little stupid things, and we'll see how it plays out. But I don't think we're going to see anything huge like 9/11 type thing. I don't think we're going to see it
No, yeah. Mm-mm.
because
But
I don't think they have the capability to do something that massive.
right.
They'll,
Okay,
they'll try.
so let me ask you this, Jimmy. Without seeming like I'm inciting violence or anything, because I'm not, but this thing will always happen until the red hats and the black hats no longer exist, if you know
Correct.
what I mean.
Correct.
So if they are not eradicated forever, then this is going to be happening over and over and over again. So
That's
what kind?
why. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, no, it's okay because I was just gonna say it seems like it'll never stop if they are not gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why the time we're living in right now is so freaking important
Mm-hmm.
because we have one shot to get this right. And it's got to be done legally. It's got to be done by the rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
It has to stick. And there
Right.
can't be any mistakes. I
Mm-mm.
know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, I want justice. I want to see some people arrested. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see Epstein." This. Okay, I get all that, and I'm with you. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see stuff too, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to look at it right now. What have we talked about for the past year about these judges? We have talked about corrupt judges, have we not? We've seen them. They've done their things.
Mm-hmm.
How can you arrest somebody? How can you expect justice with a corrupt judicial system?
Exactly.
It can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So two things have to happen here. Either one, you get rid of all the corrupt judges, which needs to happen anyway. But if you want to
Mm-hmm.
go quicker, you hold these people in front of military tribunals
Mm-hmm.
for treason, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. That will go quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So I know people. I know it seems tense. I know it seems dark. I get all that. But then there's the phrase, sometimes you have to walk through the dark to get to the light.
Mm-hmm.
And people are so people have been what's the best way to do this without being an asshole about it? people people have been living their lives just trying to make a living, take care of their family, do all that, and
Yeah.
they haven't been paying attention.
I
So
know. I was one of
okay.
those people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's that. So that's why you see a lot of these little things popping off to wake people up to get them to start figuring out, hey, there's something going on in this world. I don't know exactly what it is, but something ain't right.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
how many people woke up because of the Charlie Kirk shooting?
Oof.
I,
Millions.
I haven't met anyone who doesn't think that what we were told was,
Exactly.
well, yeah, I haven't met anybody that's believing the media.
Right.
If if you're believing the narrative of the Charlie Kirk case as it is right now,
Right.
let us
Right.
know if you are, and why do you believe? I want to know. I want to know why you would believe the media's narrative on that when they've lied to us about everything else.
Right. But if you do truly believe in it, then I would like to know too, because I haven't met anybody yet either that believes exactly what happened with the Charlie Kirk stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
and quick comment about that. I watched Snake Eyes
did you
today
really?
before the show. I was like, I have to watch this because I'm not gonna go another week saying that I didn't do nothing once again because I haven't been online. So I said I have to watch the movie. It was a good movie. It was
Really?
good. I liked it. It was good. And I like old movies, so it's 1998. and it
Yeah.
just brought me back like that nostalgia of what a good movie felt like, what a
Yeah.
good plot and a good storyline and everything. So I felt like, wow, like whoa. um
Did you watch the movie with a different lens this time? Did you look for like little Easter eggs and stuff?
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah, and I was paying very close attention to the lines, like the scripting, like what they were
Yeah.
saying to each other, the characters, and I paid attention to like the behind the scenes because at first I was believing the narrative too. I was like, "Dang, who assassinated him?" And then when you find out the conspiracy, basically, I was even shocked. I'm like, "Oh no!" So and I felt like if I'm doing that in a movie, and I'm doing that in real life 20, 30 years later after this movie came out, it's a little scary because I felt like it's not a movie anymore. It's not something that you can say, oh, well, it's just fake. That's not really happening. It's just a movie. Like how you would console a younger person watching the movie and be like, oh, don't cry. The person's not really dead. It's just a movie. And it's like, no, this is actually real life. And no movie today can compare to something like a Charlie Kirk situation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's too good. It's movie worthy, but it's real life,
I'm
and
telling
that's
you
what
what,
scares me.
when they actually make the movies of the 2020s, that's
Yeah.
going to be some must see TV. I'm looking forward to because yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh crap, just forgot.
But quick question, Jimmy, because
Sure.
when you were talking about the kind of like the end product of what we are hoping for, I was going
Yeah.
to ask you very quickly, what happens if I don't have you anymore? I don't have a Jimmy to talk me through that phase if it does happen and you're not here anymore. What am I going to do? And who am I going to talk to? Because, I'm not saying you're sick or you're going to die anytime soon, but I'm just saying, like, if I don't have a Jimmy, what, who, okay, what I'm really,
What am I going to do? Um,
like, where do I get the answers? Because what if that does happen and you're not alive anymore, and I can't call you and say, Jimmy, remember you used to tell me this stuff would happen? It's finally happening. Like, what if you're not around? Where am I gonna go to see the the answers?
Good question. I've never had anybody ask me that. Um, I have actually thought a little bit about that because since I'm not on Facebook now,
Right,
a lot of people send me messages and, hey, Jimmy, I use your Facebook page to keep up with the news,
right.
to
Like,
figure out what's going on and things like that. What I have tried to do over the past 5 years is to get people to use their critical thinking skills and go back and listen to some of the stuff that I've said over the years and look at the sources that I've mentioned. And if those
okay, okay,
sources are still available, if I'm not, if those sources are still available, I would say go look at those sources. And for me,
okay.
yeah, I'll tell y'all the main sources I use,
Mhm.
and you can scoff at them you want, but hey, the track record's been pretty good so far. So I got to
Yeah,
give them
yeah. I
some
don't, I
credit.
don't, I don't care about that stuff. Yeah.
So I watch X22
Hmm.
on Rumble. I watch And We Know. That's a really good one. I watch the Q News Patriot, which is SG Anon. Follow him. I follow Dan Scavino because Dan Scavino's
Okay.
always dropping some information. I look at Trump's Truth Socials
Okay.
because there's usually some comms in there. Everybody makes
Hmm.
fun of him when he misspells a word or whatever.
Hmm.
That's done on purpose.
Hmm.
Um, because you take that missing letter and whatever that missing letter is, you put it in the cue boards, just that missing letter, and you'll be surprised what posts come up about that missing letter. So,
Right, right. Okay.
um, and
That's good to know. That's good to know.
yeah, so those are the main ones, and I have other ones that I look at. Is Clandestine is pretty good. That one's on X. I love this. I love their post. There are some really good OG digital soldiers out there. folks that came before me.
Okay, so let me ask you this too. So what happens if it never happens and you're not here anymore for me to call you and say, "Hey, Jimmy, before we both go on my deathbed and nothing happens, what are we gonna do, Jimmy? What do we tell the next generation?"
I have said I've said this before. I think we're in a very pivotal time in human history. I
Okay.
think I think the frequency and the vibration of Earth itself has been raising. If you look at the Schumann resonance, it has been off the charts, which means that people are waking up. People are realizing that we've been living in a matrix, that everything we've been told is pretty much a lie. And people are becoming aware of that. And the more people that speak out and bring this information out, the more folks are going to keep. I mean, you look at the younger generation. My
Mm-hmm.
grandkids, they're
Mm-hmm.
good. They're like, yeah, let's make this. We got to get everything back the way it needs to be, or whatever. Get rid of this evil shit.
Right, right. They can
Um,
tell. They can tell. They
yeah,
notice. Yeah.
yeah, they can. And I've always said this: if I'm right about a lot of this stuff, then hell yeah, we're all going to have a bright future. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
wrong
Mm-hmm.
about this stuff, it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
a pretty picture here on the planet Earth.
Right, I agree. But the reason why I kind of like this is on my mind is because you know how quickly Charlie left, right? He
Right.
was he, alive one day, dead the next. And then I remember how Candace Owens said on her show that she sent out files or something, like she sent information so that if something ever happened to her, people would know the truth at least, and that they would release something, in case
Hmm.
of that something like that happened. I kind of felt like we don't have a failsafe like that. Like like if one of us can't communicate for some type of reason, then I would feel pretty lost. And
Yeah,
even though you mentioned good sources, I just like to talk to one guy who, consumes that type of content, because
right.
I know, like, I'm not going to be that, I'm not going to expand that way. So I like to have at least one person who's really well versed in a certain subject or content that I trust.
I get
And
that.
I'm like, okay, let me talk to you about it instead of going to five different other podcasts. And, I
Yeah,
like
and
to have a guy.
the one thing that I've had to do over the years is I've had to weed out
Hmm.
certain individuals that I thought were good, but
Right.
turned out to be rhinos or turned out to be patriots, PAY. There's quite a few people
Ooh.
that I started watching in the beginning. I was like, wow, this person's got some really good information. And then something pops off like J6, and
Right.
these same people are saying, oh, it was Trump and his people. And it was all, I'm like, the hell it was. And I'm like, okay, I can't trust you now because you're buying into the mainstream media narrative. And there have been infiltrators into Q movement. There have been. Um,
Yeah, I
so
agree with you.
so
Yeah.
I've had to be very careful on picking up a news source or whatever. I like Derek Johnson. He's pretty good. He's really good. But it's taken some work to get to where I'm at with the sources I use now.
Right, right. Guess who's in the chat? Mr. M. We haven't seen him in such a long time. Welcome back to the chat. Mr. M says Charlie Kirk is alive and well.
I believe it.
I
I'm with
believe
him.
it too.
I'm with Mr. M on that.
I believe it.
I
And
believe it.
JG says, Ruby, are you just trying to tell Jimmy that we all love and appreciate him? Well, I do, because I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't have a guy like Jimmy. So, guess who's on the stage with us? Dallas is on the stage, aka Jesse. Welcome.
Hey,
Hey Jesse.
hey, Jimmy, how you doing? Jimmy,
I'm
what's your
good.
shirt say?
Apasta stock 2020.
Beautiful. Wow. Without my glasses.
It's
Oh,
got
wow.
the little people pushing over the watchtower.
Is that
Oh,
Stephen
that's
Lett?
cool.
Is that Stephen Lett?
Nah, nah.
Hey, you know what? A lot of people think what you were saying, but before I tell you that, Ruby, you sound a little bit dispirited.
Well, I think about those things.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like to think about those things, but
I think, you know what I told you we were going to discuss tonight about living in fear and the tips on that? I think
right.
when we get into that part, it's going to help with some of this stuff. I think it's going to help. But yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
Hey,
Right.
Jimmy, I was going to tell you, a lot of people nowadays, well, when we were kids, all we had was maybe Ronald Reagan, Rush Limbaugh. That was the only alternative voices. And
Right.
In economics, we had the libertarians, the Ron Pauls. And but now it's everybody. And one of the things Rush Limbaugh used to say 30 years ago, I remember him saying real clearly, I'm not going to leave you until everybody in America agrees with me.
Mhm.
And me and Gilbert think that maybe in spirit, maybe it became true that because you see a dividing. And even if 10% of the things that you're saying were true, 10%, it's still a gloomy picture. And a lot of people say that, don't they? You hear that a lot. Like the conspiracy theorists, they say, even if the conspiracy theorists are right on 10%, holy moly, we got problems.
Yeah, I think that the problems that people are seeing right now it's nothing new.
Right.
Everything that we have dealt with has been going on for decades. It's
Mhm.
only new to people now because they're starting to become aware of all this stuff that's been happening, human trafficking, child torture, this, money, all that crap.
Mhm.
And weaponizing the government, weaponizing social issues, weaponizing the weather, weaponizing the food. People are weaponizing big pharma. People are becoming more aware of this stuff now. And then when they become aware of it, they're like, holy hell, we live in a crap society. Okay, well, now you've done figured out we live in a crap society and things have been turned against the people. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And I know people will say, well, I'm just one person. I can't do anything about it. I'm
Right.
just one person. And
Mhm.
I've used my voice to try to help people wake up to all this other stuff that's going on. Because if I can wake up one person, which
Right.
I know that's happened, thank you, Lord, for helping me do that. Then that person is going to wake up somebody else or make
Mhm.
somebody aware of what's going on. And the
Mhm.
more of us that do that and take that attitude that, hey, I have a voice, it's powerful, they want to shut me up, but I'm going to keep going. If more people would do that, this whole process would go so much quicker.
But you forget the element of emotion. Is because when people wake up, they go through the process, just
They
like
they
grief.
they
It's
do.
a journey of waking up and multiple awakenings. Go ahead, Jesse.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ruby, can I tell you something that inspires me every day? And I carry this with me every day. Every moment I think about this, not every moment, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm thinking, I always go back to it as a foundation of my life. And my father loved John F. Kennedy. My father was a naturalized citizen, born in Mexico, and he loved America. And when they used to ask him what his citizenship, when we would go to Mexico and cross back, and he goes, American citizen through my own naturalization. And
Mhm.
I remember he said it with such conviction and love of country. And he loved Mexico. He loved Mexico with his whole heart, his culture and everything. But he loved America, and he was uniquely in love with our nation. But he loved John F. Kennedy. And something that stuck with me when I was a little kid, can I read it to you? It's from the inaugural
Mhm.
address. And I think it's pointed on the way you were presenting, what would I do without Jimmy? What would you do without a
Right.
foundation? Look what he
Mhm.
says. And this is going to make the hair on your arm stand up. From his inaugural address, 1960, he says, "In the long history of the world, I'm gonna channel John F. Kennedy. In the long history of the world, the best a Mexican can.
Mhm.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. and the glow from that fire can truly light the world.
Yeah.
This is a man who has an eternal flame when he died. His
Mhm.
beautiful wife consecrated, built that beautiful eternal flame. And I really think that glows in a lot of men. And it channels from the first fathers in the Plymouth Rock. It channels from our first Native Americans that were here before the English
Mhm.
settlers, and from the Spanish who came in through Florida. And
Mhm.
we have a unique, this land is our land. And what
Mhm.
John F. Kennedy said in 1960, when he was facing the dark days of the Civil War, of the Cuban Missile Crisis, he said that no man, he can't think any man who would want to change places. He was thinking about Abraham Lincoln. He was thinking about George Washington. But I think the same about you and I and Jimmy. I don't think nobody would trade. We're living in the best of times
Mhm.
because there's a separation of good and evil. We're seeing it with our
Yep.
own eyes. And so
Mhm.
that's how come I wake up every day so happy because, you know, we're seeing a separation of good and evil. And John F. Kennedy said it, no generation would trade places. And that's the
Mhm.
way that keeps me positive and upbeat.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yep.
How'd you like my accent? My Irish.
I caught a little bit of that while you were saying that. Ridiculous.
No, I
Um,
love that. I love
Hey,
it.
I'm gonna bail out. I'm gonna bail out so somebody could come but bail in. But
All
you
right.
have a
sure you
Thank
blessed
want
you,
to? You
evening.
sure
Jesse.
you want to bail out?
Well, he'll
Yeah,
be
that
in the
way.
chat if
Yeah,
anything,
I'll
right?
be in the chat, but that way give room to somebody to come in with some fresh ideas. You guys are doing so great tonight.
I
Oh, thank you,
appreciate that. Thank you.
Jesse.
All right, so let's go in. What time is it? 10:10. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go into this next segment. Unless you had something else you wanted to say, real quick.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
I tell you what. Before we go to this, you had a couple of clips that you wanted to play,
Oh, yeah.
and I want to go there first
Uh-huh.
because it'll feed into this later.
Okay.
It's like, so you go ahead and do those clips and you talk about those.
Okay, cool. So we got Gail, Gigi, and on the
Hey,
stage. So she can
Hi.
see these clips with us. Oh, did you want to say something, Gigi, before I show a clip?
Yeah,
yeah.
do you mind? It's
Yeah,
going
go
to be
ahead.
quick.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
And like Jesse said, this is going to be something positive, I hope. I did a lot of thinking about the hostages. I actually cried when I was watching them reunited with their families. What I want to say, it's not over for them. Even though they're reunited, we all together as humans on this earth is pray for their families, pray for their speedy recovery. This isn't going to leave them. Some of this stuff is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
They could have post-traumatic stress. They could have nightmares. So I think as humanity, we should all pray for their families, donate if you can, and be more loving and kind, because I just can't imagine. Megyn Kelly showed before and after pictures because the Hamas made them look good. They groomed them, cut their hair, shaved them, they fattened them up. And then she showed what they really looked like before. So they had like a month or two to make them look good. So this is how diabolical and evil this group is. Well, anyway, I just wanted to say that because I can't stop thinking about them. I picture them. I wouldn't last a week underground. I really wouldn't with my health. I wouldn't survive. I really wouldn't.
No.
And I'd like to know where those other bodies are. And again, having your loved ones show up in a casket, it's just unbearable to think about it. But I just wanted to throw that out to everybody because I think we should concentrate on those that have been through horror, and that we should be reaching out to them in any way, shape, or form that we can. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining and saying that. That was very that was deep. That was deep.
Thank you. And I'll get off and go over to the chat.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm only gonna show a clip here that I found interesting. So this was about a week after the Charlie Kirk incident, and this was like a screaming match. And I know this is not the first time we've seen it, but I love when these things happen. I don't know why. I just love like when fights happen. I love watching fights and stuff like not official fights. I like street fighting and stuff like that. Um, but anyways, so I liked when this happened, right? But then again, after Charlie Kirk, like that, it definitely changed my opinion about, how people talk in public, really, especially elected people. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be held to a higher mm, standard, a higher standard than the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's watch this clip and then you tell me how you feel.
And I think it's really important we need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in DC and across the country, it is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or paints Washington D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady
No, I don't
yield?
yield. I don't even have time. I can tell you.
Your time's expired.
It is
Mr.
expired, but
Lee, I've
Mr. Chair.
been nice.
But you all live
like
here,
Mr.
and
Lee.
you're not telling people the beautiful parts that you do see in our
Mr.
nation's
Lee.
capital. And no, it's just wrong how we're
No,
doing it.
Chairman, I think it's
Wrong.
insane that the
Time's
gentlelady
expired.
doesn't have an argument, but she's going to refer to me and some of my
You yield to
colleagues.
Mr.
Chair,
Donald.
We were
you
from the
know
Third
this.
Reich. This is
You're gonna
insane.
look at
It's
14,
insane.
15-year-olds as
It's
a bunch of
insane.
criminals?
It's insane.
Oh,
Do I look like a
please.
member of the Third Reich to you, Ms.
Please,
Tlaib?
please,
Is that what I look like to
please.
you?
You're the one taking your voting
Is that what
card,
you think?
giving it
Is that
to
what you
somebody,
think?
giving
Is that
it
what you
a
think?
No, that's unethical.
I think it's radical and I think it's
No,
insane.
you
And
should
I'll
be held
respect everything that you say.
accountable before you
But to
open your
say
mouth.
something like
You
that
should be
to
held
myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line.
I'm not the
It's
one
way out of
giving
line.
my voting
It's
card
way out of
to
line.
someone
Regular
to
order,
go
Mr.
vote.
Way out of
You
line.
don't vote.
Regular order.
That's okay. But it's okay,
No,
right?
That is not how it
It's
goes.
okay, right?
You hold yourself accountable before you talk about
Hold
Washington,
myself
D.C.
accountable.
Mr. Lee.
Washington,
Hold
D.C.
your
out
own
of your
self
mouth.
accountable. How
Keep
about
it out of
that?
your mouth.
Hold your own
I'm
self
trying,
accountable.
Mr.
How about
Finlay.
that?
Free D.C. and make sure you
All right.
vote with your own voting card. Don't be giving it to somebody
Mr.
else.
Lee. All right, time.
Wow, I didn't even see that one.
Uh-huh.
To leave, man, that woman's crazy, man.
Do you see why I don't want women in politics? But I
That
digress.
I tell you what, you could just hear the anger just
Mhm.
swell inside her from when she first started talking to get to the end, and she's just screaming, and her voice changes and
Mhm.
everything. It's like that woman's evil.
Peak woman though. This is why I don't believe women should be in politics, because as a woman I do know how emotion will always take the first the an emotion will always overtake us rather than a fact or maybe a thought. And in my honest opinion, it's just in our nature to do so. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's not appropriate for politics. And yet we see stuff like this. And I'm not saying that men don't do it. Of course they do it. But like you said, you see how it was in levels. First it was level 1, and then quickly it went to 1,000. And it
Yeah.
was so uncalled for, inappropriate. Like, where did that even come out of? And I think she was super triggered because he said that, she was calling them fascists and the Third Reich or whatever. And that's never gonna stop. But the way that they come out is crazy. They're
She
really
said something.
triggered.
She said something at the beginning. Can you play that again, just at the beginning? Because there was something she said, and I'll tell you when to stop it.
Okay.
When she says it, I caught it,
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll play it
and I
again.
wanted to make a comparison.
Okay. Yes.
And I think it's really important we need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in DC and across the country, it is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or paints Washington D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just
All right,
reading it. No,
stop.
you're just reading.
Okay. What did
So
you
she
catch?
said it's not fair to
The paint
defame.
DC, right?
Yeah, defame. But she's talking about the DC thing. But how many times has that certain party used rhetoric to defame people in the past?
Right. They don't have a
You
problem
know,
with it at all.
we were called deplorables by Hillary Clinton. a basket of deplorables. Those MAGA Republicans that Biden did in his little fiery speech that looked like he was in hell when he was doing it.
Mhm.
So they're not ones to talk about, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
demeaning people. They've been doing it and that's why their approval rating right now is at 16%. The Democratic Party approval rating is 16% as of today. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yo, did you see that woman running for governor in California? Those
Oh
interviews
my
that she was
God.
giving? Yo,
Yes.
I was on the floor. I was dying laughing, but it
Get
just
out the
proves my
epic
point.
shot.
It's horrible, Jimmy, horrible.
Oh,
But their
yeah.
true colors are showing. And JG said in the comments that that I'm a sexist, I guess, for saying that. And I guess I am because time and time and again, you see women running for important offices such as the ones that they're running for or that they already have, and then they do something like this. I mean, it's great for us. I mean, it's entertainment sometimes. But when it comes to politics, do you really think that that's helpful? Do you really think that you could work out a deal, being bipartisan with somebody like that? I don't think so. And I'm not saying that the gender has a direct, influence or byproduct of their behavior, but it just proves my point that
So
I would rather have
you'll
men deal
notice
with
you'll
this.
notice I didn't say anything when you made that statement because I'm not a woman. I can't speak to that as
Right.
far as emotional stuff taking over or whatever. I'm not I can't speak to that. So I kind of remain quiet on that one.
Okay, so then as a man, Jimmy, would you say that when you have a discourse or disagreement or a conversation with another man, that is
Mhm.
easier or harder to, mend it or, get over something with a man rather than a woman? I don't know. Have you ever had a case like
I
that?
will say because of the experience I've had with talking to people about many different subjects and even here on the show,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to someone that has a differing viewpoint than me, if it's a
Mm-hmm.
guy,
Mm-hmm.
we're usually able to have a conversation, keep facts on the table, keep emotions in check, and things like that. That it normally happens. I can have a conversation,
Yeah, a civil one. Yeah.
a civil one.
Mm-hmm.
I have had conversations with women that have fallen into that category that have been civil
Mm-hmm.
and they get it. They understand they're being logical and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the most issues that I've had when talking with folks are usually the leftist liberal women who allow their emotions to take over a subject. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being mean or sexist for saying that. I'm just speaking of experience. That
Right. Right. That's
it
what
has
you've seen.
happened.
Right.
If you watch this show, you've seen it before,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on who I'm talking to. I
Right.
can't say it's just, all equated to gender. It's just on who I'm speaking to at that moment. Because there are some guys out there that I'm
Right.
sure if I
Right.
got into a conversation with them and they were lefty liberals, they would go
Right.
that same route as the female did.
Okay, okay. So I would agree with you there. I don't want to say that that's like the defining point that just because
Right.
she's a woman. I would never want to make it seem like that. All I'm saying is that when it does happen, is like this. It's out in the public, it's inappropriate, and it's not like she's winning the argument either. You know what I'm saying? Like if she was actually saying something that really mattered and she was screaming that on the top of her lungs, then I
Mhm.
would be perfect. She stood up for something. But every time they screech like this, it's for stupid stuff that doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
Like they're defending something that shouldn't be defended. So it's a little confusing and like it's a waste of my time. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I wanted to show you another clip because this is the Mexican one. So you saw the American one. So this is the Mexican senators erupt into an aggressive shoving match, and I love this crap. So I wanted to show you guys. You've probably seen this, but we'll watch it again.
Wow, that's not uncommon. I've seen several clips like that from a lot of Central American countries doing that, and also over in India. I think they've done it over there a couple of times too, and I think in
I
Egypt
love
too.
it.
Yeah, I would love to know what
I
the
love it.
context was and what they were fighting about.
I think it was something about Trump and the cartels, but you're definitely gonna have to look deeper into that. And let me know when you find the context. Let me know how you feel about it because I don't need context. I love it. And to me, it kind of feels like they actually really do care about whatever the argument is. You know what I'm saying? Like if you care that much that you had to get up out of your seat and throw some hands, then it must be really important. You know what I'm saying? Like
Um,
I'm not too much of a
th-
screamer, but that throwing hands, oof, I love it.
that's why I said I just see what the context was because that would matter to me on why are you
Right,
getting up and throw. I mean, if Rashida Tlaib started throwing hands in that segment right
right,
there, it's not it's
right,
just because she was being a
right, right, right. Yes, yes, agreed.
she just wasn't fighting for something good. Okay, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna really do that, do it for something worth fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't use a screaming match like that just for nothing. I wouldn't
Yeah.
get out of my seat and shove somebody for nothing. Like it would be something very important that matters to us. That is what I want to see. I kind of appreciate it sometimes.
And I think too what you're seeing from a lot of these folks that are part of the deep state is they're and it's global, like we've said before.
Hmm.
They're starting to panic right now,
Right.
and they're going to start getting emotional. It's like a little
Right.
cornered that little cornered animal. It's going to fight back. It's going to try to scratch and claw,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what we're seeing right now throughout the world with that stance on the ideology.
And they out themselves when they do have an
Oh yeah,
outburst because it's like,
totally.
why are you having an outburst? Then it
Yeah,
must be really important to you, huh? Like you're
yeah,
so triggered for something, and that's
yeah,
what I like to see.
yeah. It's
um,
funny.
uh, so last clip. So this was a guy named Mr. Porter. So supposedly this context is that this guy was illegally kept from speaking at a prior school board meeting, and this is what happened next. He went scorched earth. So language warning if that bothers you, but we're gonna watch this clip. I think it's hilarious, but it's so good.
Anyone with children that doesn't want their kids to learn interesting new words, get the fuck out. First, a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, who was killed by leftist guerrilla terrorists in Utah. And then secondly, any of you transgender people, don't shoot. No one would care if I got shot anyway, so you're just wasting a bullet. Save your 17 cents. Anyhow, my name is actually Ray Gallagher. I identify as Ray Gallagher. It's mostly because my friends think that I'm a stupid, overbearing cunt. But anyhow, last time I came here to speak, I wasn't allowed to speak because some other stupid, overbearing cunt shares the exact same name of Ray Gallagher with me.
Yeah.
I fucking
Mr.
warned you, bitch. I said get the fuck out. If you don't like cuss words, it's free speech. I'm going to continue with my speech, lady.
Can you
I
stop
called
the
you all-
clock? Stop the
Go
clock.
ahead, lady. Go ahead.
No, you're not
Go ahead, punch
All right.
call me a bitch.
Do what you want.
Mr. Porter
No.
and ma'am,
I
it is his
am
time.
demanding you control this woman.
It is his time. Please sit.
Free speech, lady. Go back.
All right,
Go.
all right.
Come
Mr.
on.
Porter, Mr.
You
Porter,
got a sign that says stop bullying, and then you're bullying a speaker.
Mr. Porter, Mr.
There's
Porter,
nothing that can make me look worse, lady. I pull my pants down in public. Did you see her storm out and slam the door?
Mr. Porter, your time has been paused. I am
Okay,
going
so now's
to
your
no,
time.
I'm going to respectfully ask you
To what?
As we have children in the
'em.
audience,
Fuck 'em.
I'm just
Fuck
asking
them.
you.
I told them they could leave. Fuck them.
Okay.
Free
Your
speech,
time is
fuck 'em.
going to restart.
Fuck them.
This has been my ask of you that I
You
am
can ask whatever the fuck you want.
You
and
are
I'm going to deny
correct.
your request like you denied me the ability to speak at the last meeting because we happen to share the exact same name.
You can
Ray
restart
Gallagher.
his time. Your time is going. It is
Yeah.
yours.
So I signed up. There's proof that I signed up, and you didn't allow me to speak. You denied me my right to my First Amendment, right to redress of grievances, my right to petition the government for redress of grievances, my right to say exactly what was on my mind because you didn't like the way that I signed up. But I did sign up. It's on video. It's witnessed. And then you denied me because you didn't like my viewpoint, because my viewpoint is opposite of what your viewpoint is, which is hippy-dippy transgender shit is okay. So you denied me my right to speak last time, so this time I'm pissed off. So you're getting the pissed off version of my speech. You would have got a much better speech if you had just let me speak last time, but instead you wanted to take this shit to federal court and try and say that you have the right, as the president of this governing body, to actually deny people their access to this podium to speak and deny them their equal rights to free speech under the 14th Amendment and the First Amendment. So long story short, I don't like you. I don't like any of your people. You guys are in an echo chamber. You bring in these left-wing nut jobs with weird blue hair and shit, and you think that that's the voters and the electorate that you're representing. It's not. You've got duly elected conservative board members here that you treat like shit. You ignore conservative people. And now I find out you want to reduce talking time from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. You want to ask for identification and driver's license for people to come in and speak. That seems ridiculous. It seems like a Fourth Amendment violation. But what you're going to find if you do pass that is that the people who you don't like are going to continue to come and they're going to provide ID. The people that you have coming from Montgomery County to speak on behalf of transgender stuff, they're not going to be able to come because the transgender people that you have here, a lot of them come from Montgomery County, and they're just nothing more than agitators and activists that come up here to protest and to try to destroy the free speech of conservative parents in the county. So I'm just here to further reiterate that I don't like you, that I identify as Ray Gallagher. You did not allow me to speak last time. So this time I am turning your entire board meeting into a shit show full of curse words and transphobic stuff. Like trans people go on mass shootings more than regular people do. But trans... What are you talking about?
No, all right.
Trans women or trans men?
Trannies,
transvestites.
All right, Mr. Porter, your time is up.
Transvestites go on mass shootings more than normal people. That's
the audience will not engage.
Charlie
Mr. Porter
Kirk was not killed by a normal straight man. He was
Mr.
killed by a
Porter, your time
weirdo gay
is up.
dude who was fucking a tranny.
Oh,
That's
shit.
what killed Charlie Kirk, just
All right.
like you freaks in the audience.
Mr. Porter,
He
you
was
may
killed
sit
by a
down
freak.
or you may leave. Your time is up.
Oh, my time
Your
is up?
time is up and your time was up. You may sit down or you may leave.
I'm going to sit down.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you again, Ray.
So, if you ever wanted to know what an America is, or what does it mean to be American, that would be my definition. In a person, in a speech, that would be my definition.
All right. Personally,
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think he could have handled that a little differently, but I'm not in his shoes. I don't know what they said to him, why he couldn't speak. He was pissed off. And that was a gentleman that, for whatever reason, I believe his emotion kind of took away from what he was saying.
It could have. It could have.
Because of the cussing, because people are going to tune him out because of that. It's just going to happen. On the other hand, I like the straightforward, in your face. You guys are. I like that because I'm from the '80s, and that's how we did it in the '80s. Before all these people got sissified and got participation trophies and everything, we could tell people exactly to their face or whatever, how we felt. So I liked everything except, he could have cut back on the cussing, but that's just my personal viewpoint. But sometimes you gotta say some shit to get people's attention.
Right. Or you got to throw some hands. Like sometimes it happens. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you're going to do it for the right reasons. You see, this guy, I felt like he got his point across, even though it was with the cussing. I still believe like he got his message across. There was no misunderstanding what he meant or why he was there. He
Yeah.
explained it very well. And he did give a warning. He was like, if you don't want your kids to learn, get out. So at least he did that.
Yeah.
But when I was watching that, I felt that First Amendment pride. Like we
Yeah.
have the ability to say whatever we want to whoever, especially government, or in this case a school board. I mean, I wouldn't do it where there's children there, but we have the freedom to do that, right? So that's where I was like, whoa, that it was a powerful speech. To
And
me it was
I can
powerful.
understand his frustration and the reason for. I understand that because these school boards, like I said, I spoke at the school board meetings in 2020 and 2021,
Hmm.
and people were pissed.
Hmm.
And I can understand why somebody would get up there and do that. I mean,
Right.
I can't fault the man. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have tried to tone it down because that's just the way I am. But there are some times when I get on a rant and get on a
Right.
roll.
Right.
Yeah, I actually didn't have to apologize to the audience. Like, sorry guys for cussing it like that, but it's just the way it is sometimes.
Right. But when you're talking against these people, you see it's different. And that's why I feel like even though it might have come off disrespectful, sometimes you have to fight fire with fire because what they're doing is behind closed doors, right? But
Yeah,
in the outside, they want to make it seem like, oh, we're not doing that.
exactly. You got
We're
to
not
call them out.
allowing that to exactly. So
You
you
got to
have to
call them
say
out.
it how it is outside in the
Yeah,
open, in the public, and you embarrass them. You need to shame them. And sometimes that needs to happen, or else nothing's going to change because you're always beating around the bush or trying to protect somebody's feelings. No, we're not in that
yeah,
business anymore. And I
yeah,
think we're finally realizing that. And parents, especially, are sick and tired because I know if I would have had my kids still in school, I would have been just like that. I would have been
yeah.
just like that or worse because of how bad the system is. So
Hmm.
you can't, it is what it is. But, anyways, I just wanted to show that, get you guys' opinions, have a few chuckles and just enjoy it.
What's the chat think about all that?
Let's see. So. JG says, "What's the point of just being disruptive? That's wasted energy." Yeah, but he used his time. Okay, he wasn't running up there and disrupting something that was already in progress. You
Yeah, he
see,
had his time.
yeah,
Yeah.
he used it the way he really wanted to, and he did get his point. Let's see. Jesse says, "Imagine him crashing a convention." Steen says, "At a public forum, you are speaking to everyone, so he was disrespectful, just like those he was complaining about." But you see, they be jabbing you and sticking you in private. That's the problem. They be skirting people and taking away their opportunity to speak. So when he got his opportunity, he went all out. You see, that's when you poke the bear so much, and then they react a certain way. Oh, and all of a sudden you don't like it. Too bad. Too bad if you don't like it. Because if you would have given him his time in the first place, if you would have respected everybody to begin with and not be prejudiced or take away something because of his political views or treat him differently because like he said, I have a different opinion than you, then that would have never happened. But I
Right.
don't know when we lost respect for one another when it comes to a public space like that. But now all of a sudden we're Nazis and they're the good guys all of a sudden. And then you start throwing words around, and then that's when people actually get hurt, and we've already seen that. So it gets
Well,
out of hand.
Well, I think the conditioning of America has been going on for at least the last 20 years to, worry more about people's feelings
Right.
than actual facts or stuff. I mean, it started for me, I believe it started with the participation trophies. You know,
Mm.
that's what I feel. And then throughout, you got to validate people's feelings and this. And if they want to believe they're a cat, you need to validate the feelings that they're a cat. No, the fuck I don't. All right.
Right.
You're
Right.
not a damn cat. Sorry, I will go off on that stuff. But um and I think when people actually stand up, speak their minds, sometimes it has profanity in it. People have that clutching the pearls thing. Oh my God,
Right.
I can't
Like if
believe
it's
you
a big
said it.
thing.
It's
Right.
like, have you not seen Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Archie Bunker, all these comedians? these people would not be able to survive in a comedy show when those
Right.
people are on stage. They'd
Right.
be like, "Oh
Well,
my god, oh
it's
my
the
god."
setting. That's what it is. It's the setting. Like I said, in it can become inappropriate or disrespectful when it's not used correctly. Like
Correct.
I said earlier, if Rashid, is that her name? Rashid?
Yeah.
If she would have used that moment to actually get to the point of what she was saying without, she didn't even have time. So it's like you're saying something and you're not even being listened to begin with, and then
Right.
you go to a level 1,000. Now nobody's really listening to you because you're just screeching out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
I agree.
man, he said what he needed to say, and he didn't care how you felt about it, and that's what I'm talking about. So if you're
And
gonna do it right.
when you get to the feeling to where you feel like you can say stuff and you don't give a rat's ass about how people feel about you,
Right. It's
that is
freedom.
that is a level of freedom
Right.
that is exhilarating.
And I think that's
Because
what what we saw. Yeah.
yeah, because I don't care. I mean,
Mm.
I'll come out and y'all saw me on Facebook. I say stuff on the show. If you like me, fine. If you don't, I don't care. I'm not going to come to you and try to be like, oh, why don't you like me? No, if you don't like me, fine. I don't care. That's
Right.
your right. But I'm going
Right.
to keep speaking in what I feel is truth and trying to help people.
Right.
So,
And that only, and those things only happen when their voice is not heard to begin with. Then they lash
right,
out, and that's just human nature. Whereas I think in Rashid's example, she's already in a position of voice. Like her voice can be heard, and you're not using it in my opinion, for anything that doesn't good for America. So
right.
when you do have your voice being heard, what am I hearing? It's not for me. It's not helping me as an American in my own country. You're talking about other people, about other countries, about other things. So you're screeching nonsense.
Yeah,
Okay? But you see, this guy, he's just a regular dude and he's talking at a regular school board because it actually affects his county, his school, probably where his kids go to. And he has something to say. And when he wasn't heard at first, now he's lashing out and now you don't like it. Well, all too bad. So that's
yeah,
why I kind of like these videos because it brings up so much more important things than just what he was saying, really.
yeah, yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. But anyways, those were the kind of clips that I wanted to show.
That's cool. All right, so let's see what the chat says. Do they say anything?
Yes, Linda James is in the chat. She says, "Wow," and I think I saw a previous comment of hers. Let's see. Fighter says George Carlin legacy lives on. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
Oh, you don't know who George Carlin is?
No, I don't think so.
So you need to do some research this week and just
Okay,
go
I'll write
watch
that
some of his
down.
stuff. He is
Ah,
great. Awesome dude. Love George
okay.
Carlin.
All right, I'm gonna have to write that down. Oh, Cat B said the same thing. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna have to see who that is.
Yeah, George Carlin was awesome.
Mr. M says, "Welcome to the Truman Show."
Pretty much.
I don't know. I kind of like it from regular people more than from politicians because from politicians, I could definitely see they're putting a show, to get attention. They want that clip, they want it. So I get it. All right, well, we're gonna kind of move on. So,
All right.
go ahead, Jimmy. I think you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah. So for the past 2 or 3 years, on some of my posts, I've put "Do not live in fear." I have made that statement here on the show. Do not live in fear. Now, let me ask the audience, when I say that, what does that mean to you? And there's a reason why I'm asking, because I want to get into some information here. What does it mean to you? Does it mean anything to you? Yeah, what does it mean to you when I say do not live in fear?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go with that first off. And I tell you what, let's simmer on that for a second. Let's go ahead and play our little mid intro. So
For the next part of the
I can
show.
go use the bathroom and
Okay.
give the audience a chance. I love how we interact with the chat. I love it. What does it mean to you when someone says "do not live in fear"? and put those in the chat. We'll address those when we come back, and then we'll go into this information I have for you guys tonight.
Okay, guys. So if you're in the chat right now, I'm gonna put that question in. What does it mean to you? Don't live in fear. All right. So when we come back, I'll kind of read the comments from there. All right, everybody. So we will be right back in about a minute. All right.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. So John Marciano says, not to live in fear, real true peace and security.
Okay.
All right.
So he's saying if we have real peace and real security, then he's not living in fear. Is that correct,
Right.
John?
Right. Yeah, I believe so. Michelle Price says fear means false evidence appearing real. So don't fall for the falsehoods they put out.
Correct.
Okay, that's a good one. Dallas says live your best life you can.
Okay, that's fair.
JG says sounds like you feel confident that there are positive forces working for the good of humanity. So basically, hang in there because it's all going to work out in the end.
Totally believe that. Yes.
Mr. M says get Jimmy to read Matthew 10:28.
Okay.
So I guess that's a message for you.
Okay. I'll write
John
it down.
says yes. Big Mac says do not live in fear means that I should ignore all JW broadcasts. Well, that's how I actually feel about the regular news, though. I don't watch the regular news because of that as well. So
Yeah.
it's the same machine, just different types of propaganda. So
Correct.
that's why I'm not really, online too much. Debbie says it means to me to not stop living and loving and being kind and respectful towards one another. Keep doing those things. Living, loving, being kind and respectful towards one another.
Excellent.
All right. Let's see. Gigi says, get your courage be louder than fear. Let your courage be louder than fear.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. Matthew. So the scripture was Matthew. I'm kind of curious, so I'm going to look it up real quick.
Okay.
Matthew 10:28. Okay, so that scripture says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Okay.
All right.
Fair.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but I mean, I think that's really deep. I think it's really deep.
Yeah.
I think that's a really deep scripture because sometimes I kind of forget that, like we're here now, we're alive right now, but what happens after, you know? So I think about that a lot. I think about those things a lot. So that's really heavy sometimes for me. Let's see. Steen says, I like to walk softly and carry a big stick myself.
Can't argue with that.
Let's see. Joseph says Bill Gates preaches vaccines, but his children never received the jab. So who's living in fear?
We're living a lie.
Oh, that's true. That's true. All right. So those were good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So thank you guys for indulging us and interacting with us. with us on that. So I wanted to bring this out. I went and pulled some information on what are some tips that we can employ to help us not to live in fear. So, and I got two parts. I got the tips, and then I've got what can we do when the news is so overwhelmingly negative. So here are some grounding strategies for staying balanced when the news feels overwhelming. Limit your intake deliberately. You don't need to check news constantly to stay informed. Choose 1 or 2 specific times daily to catch up, then step away. The 24-hour news cycle thrives on keeping you hooked, but most stories don't require immediate attention. I'll read a paragraph and then we'll have a conversation about it. What do you think about that one? Limiting the intake deliberately.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do, and that's why I'm not online as much, and then sometimes I forget and I don't see anything. So I think that when you said to pick a time and pick, maybe one source, not you don't have to view everything to be informed.
Mhm.
I think the approach that I take is that I only listen to the news that is actually the president himself speaking. That's what I
Okay.
want to. I don't want to hear like secondhand or like a news anchor talking about something. I want to hear it straight from the president because if it's important enough for him to come on TV and talk about something, then it should be something that I should be watching as a citizen.
Excellent. And I could say, about the 24-hour news cycle thrives on keeping you hooked. My father-in-law has the news on every day, all day. And when he comes over and has a conversation, it's always doom and gloom. And I can't tell you how many times I have told this man, turn your freaking TV off. And it's just, it keeps them in a low vibration. So, all right. Distinguish between proximity and probability. Just because something is reported doesn't mean it's likely to affect you personally. News highlights the unusual and dramatic. That's why it's news. Ask yourself, is this actually a threat to me and my loved ones, or does it just feel that way because it's vivid and emotional? Any comments on that paragraph?
I'll just read a few comments from the chat.
Okay.
Steen says, I hate the news. My son never watches it and never talks politics or current events.
Okay.
Gigi says, some of us are news junkies. And I agree with her there because my grandma used to be the same way. She says, I've been switching to movies, but love to keep up with world affairs. Stay balanced, I guess.
I think there's a difference there because someone that's a news junkie, and I'm that way too, I want to know what's going on. But
Yeah.
I think the ones, and correct me if I'm, Gigi said that?
Yeah, Gigi.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, Gigi. I want to know the stuff so I don't let it affect me to where I'm living in fear. Is that the way you
Right.
feel about it? Because there are folks out there that are not news junkies, but they'll hear the news and they'll just get all fearful and everything. I think it's
Okay.
a different type of personality there.
Okay, that's a good one. So I'll wait for her to type. Fighter says, I don't watch the news. I do research and read their books. They tell everything in their books. They count on you not reading them. Yo, true. That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's really true.
All right. So
But
we'll
I
get,
mean, like being a news junkie though is like you said, having it on all the time, and it's just in the background when that can be subconsciously sinking itself in without you even realizing it, and then you don't know why you feel this way. So I guess when
I
she
think
says like switching to movies, it's kind of like switching the vibe that your brain is intaking.
yeah. I just remember when I was younger and, I'd be watching the news, 2008, 2009, back in that time. I walked away and I'm just like, oh my God, that's so depressing.
Right.
Every story is depressing. So,
Right.
but And it's all part of the emotional manipulation that they're trying to do anyway. We've learned that. All right, let's continue. Focus on what you can control. Feeling helpless fuels anxiety. Instead of spiraling over large-scale problems, identify small, concrete actions you can take. Maybe that's voluntary locally, having conversations with people you care about, or simply being kind to someone today. Action is an antidote to anxiety. So that goes into play with, I think it was Deborah that said it, simply being kind to someone today.
Right, Debbie.
Deb made that comment. So that's a way to overcome fearful vibrations. Seek context and multiple sources. Single headlines we talked about this before. Single headlines are designed to grab attention, not provide nuance.
Right.
When something troubles you, dig a little deeper. What's the broader context? What are experts saying beyond the sound bites? This helps move you from emotional reaction to informed perspective. So when people see a headline, their first instinct is, oh my God, can you believe that that's happening?
Right. Every single time. Yep.
And then they stop right there.
Yeah.
And then when you have a debate with that person, well, didn't you see the headline? This is what it said, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa. Did you dig deeper on this? Did you find out what they were talking about? Well, no, I don't need to. I saw the headline. Oh my God. Okay. That's frustrating to talk to someone like that.
Right. But Jimmy, I've noticed that when you don't have a job or when you don't have a life or if you don't have a community or a family, then that you drown in something like that because you're not focused on real things in real life. And you get easily swayed into whatever they want you to believe or think because you don't have anything else to lean back on. You don't have work like something that you're working towards because you're not doing anything with your life. You're just sitting there in front of the TV taking it in and you're not doing anything with it. So it's easy to manipulate you. So
very much so. Just like being in Watchtower. You know, you lived for the Watchtower and you just ate up everything that was said from the stage. We've all, well, I can't say for the whole audience, but the majority of our audience, we've been guilty of that and we broke free from that. So, protect your mental space before bed. Consuming distressing news right before sleep can affect your rest and leave you processing fear all night. Give yourself at least an hour of news-free time before bed. And remember, you're allowed to care without carrying everything. Compassion doesn't require constant immersion in suffering. You can be an informed, engaged person while also protecting your peace. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what allows you to show up meaningfully for others.
I love that.
That was the first part. All right. Second part. What can one do when the news is so overwhelmingly negative? And this might, piggyback on some of the stuff we've already said, but I'm just going to read it anyway. When the negativity feels relentless, here are some ways to stay grounded without disconnecting entirely. Take intentional breaks. It's completely okay to step back for days or even weeks. The world will keep turning. Important information will still reach you, and you'll be better equipped to engage when you return. Give yourself explicit permission to unplug. We've done that before. Actually, I think me and Ruby both are kind of in that right now. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, Ruby, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We've been so busy with everything else. We've kind of unplugged a little bit from every freaking news story that's out there.
Definitely.
And even though we're keeping up with stuff, we're not going to every little thing that's happening because hell, We got Diane Keaton that died. We got Mitt Romney's sister-in-law that just died
Who?
yesterday. Mitt Romney's sister-in-law.
No, Diane?
Yeah, Diane Keaton. Yeah, she died.
No.
MTV is ending their programming at the end of the year. There's going to be no more MTV. So that's like, I keep up with stuff. I know what's going on, but I
The
just don't talk about.
actress?
Yeah.
3 days ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my God. Oh, that's sad. She was a good actress. Dang, wow.
All right. So
Oh man.
let me continue. Balance your media diet. Seek out sources that report solutions alongside problems. Constructive journalism exists. Follow accounts or outlets that highlight progress, human resilience, and positive developments. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about seeing the full picture instead of just the darkest parts. Connect with real people in real life. News can make this world seem more hostile than it actually is. Spending time with neighbors, friends, or community groups reminds you that most people are decent, kind, and dealing with the same uncertainties you are.
Right.
Local connections counteracts abstract fear, which I can say that to be true. Engage in something creative or physical. When your mind is churning with worry, redirect that energy. Garden, cook, exercise, make art, play music, anything that gets you into your body and out of the anxiety loop. These activities aren't escape, they're necessary regulation. I have found when I'm in a position to where I'm just being bombarded, not just with news stuff, but everyday
Right.
living and things you got to deal with, I like to unplug and just go do freaking yard work.
Right.
I put my earplugs in and away I go, and I'm just focusing on trying to make my yard look good. And then when I'm done, I feel more. I feel, even though I've worked in the yard for 6 hours, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but my mental space feels really good. So because I've unplugged for a little bit. All right, last page.
Okay.
Practice good enough awareness. You don't need to be an expert on every crisis. It's okay to know the basics without diving into every horrific detail. Being informed doesn't mean being saturated. I'll just push back a little bit on that. Like, I like to go deep. I like to know what's going on.
Well, at least just know the truth. Like, don't believe what they're selling. At least dig for the truth, at least.
Yeah. Notice what's still good. This isn't toxic positivity. You know, a lot of people ask me, Jimmy, why can you be so optimistic? How do you do that? Okay. Notice what's still good. This isn't toxic positivity. It's perspective. Each day, intentionally notice small moments of beauty, kindness, or normalcy. The sunrise still happens. People still help strangers. Your friend still makes you laugh. These things coexist with the hard stuff.
Right.
Talk about how you're feeling. Share your overwhelm with someone you trust. Often just naming the weight of it all helps lift a little. You're not alone in feeling this way. You're experiencing a very human response to genuinely difficult times. Being thoughtful about how you take in information isn't weakness, it's wisdom.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good way of looking at it. And you know what? What you said earlier. I think that's really, to be honest, the reason why I have like isolationists ideology is because in my mind, I cannot start thinking about what's happening all around the world. I have to focus inward first. Like, that's
right?
just me. Because if I would allow myself to be like, I'm already passionate about my own country, right? Imagine if I were to like extend that energy to the rest of the world with how passionate and how strong I am in my stances. I would be exhausted. I would be mentally and
Oh,
emotionally
absolutely.
exhausted. because the rest of the world is not going to go how I would want it. So I do myself a favor and zero in on my own country first, because there's a lot of problems in my own country that I should at least be doing something to help, rather than start having an opinion about a country I don't even live in. So that's how I see it. I try to stay focused at least with that.
And that's good. And one of the things that I do, a little technique that I do, is when I go out in public,
Hmm.
I try to find out, or I try to see how many people I can make smile today.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't think about
And
other people.
and I do that because you never know what somebody's going through. I mean, you're at a gas pump. I mean, I'm sure people can relate to this. You've had a bad day. You're just aggravated. Nothing's going your way. You're pumping your gas. You're just standing there and you just got the defeated look on your face. But
Hmm.
then someone comes along and says something nice to you,
Right.
and you're
Hmm.
like, you know what? Okay. That takes a little anxiety away from somebody. So for
Yeah.
me, that's what I try to do. Today, as a matter of fact, I made 14 people smile today. So,
Aw.
I know how many people I make smile every day.
Aw,
I keep up
you're
with
better
it.
than me, Jimmy, man. You're better than me.
I mean, now, and when I don't, how many times have you opened the door for somebody to go into a place
Hmm.
and they just walk in and don't
Yeah, and they
say
don't even
thank
say
you?
thank you. Yo, I
Yeah,
hate that. Yeah.
I call them out. I
No.
do. I call them out. I open the door for somebody and they walk in. They don't say, I'm like, you're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I call them out. I don't care.
Jimmy, I've been told that I have this I have only child syndrome, where, I grew up as an only child, only thought about myself, never had to share, never had to do anything for anybody else. Very selfish, or just self-centered. Maybe narcissistic, you might say. And I used to think about that and be like, yeah, you might be right, because I did grow up that way. That's just how I was raised. I didn't have to think about anything else. So when it came to it, I must have come across very self-centered and very selfish, like stuck up almost. And I've just had to learn how to be, go into the world, into adulthood, in the real world like that,
Mhm.
because you're not a single child anymore. You're in the rest of society.
Yeah.
And that shows. It very much shows. But since I was so sheltered, I never had to put a face or a front or a smile. So people in the street used to tell me, "Oh, why don't you smile?" or something, like I used to get barked at sometimes, and I used to think like, oh, like that's so like, oh my gosh, like what's
I have
going on?
I have a dear friend now, that when I first met her, she came to work with Aflac, and she was with us for about 6 weeks, month and a half, maybe. And I was like, I am not talking to this woman, because what she had, excuse the expression, resting bitch face.
That's what I have.
Okay.
Yes.
And I stayed away from her. All right. But then one day we were at some meeting or whatever, and I had two ties and I didn't know which one looked the best. And I reached out. I said, hey, which tie do you think looks better? And she was very nice about it. And she said, I think that one looks better. From that point on, we became good friends and we talk about everything, because
Exactly.
I found out that she hated meetings. She hated being there. She had
Right.
walls up because she didn't trust people. And here
Exactly.
I was, holding back, not saying anything to her, because I'm like, oh my God, I ain't messing with her. So
Right.
when I
That was
see people,
me.
when I
Mhm.
see people in public that have the resting bitch face, I
Mhm.
make it my effort to say something nice to them.
Aw, that's nice, Jimmy.
And so before we get to who's on stage real quick, I want to put a
Yes.
challenge out to everybody for next week.
Mhm.
Let's have a little activity. From
Okay.
here until next Tuesday,
Mhm.
let's see who can make make people smile the most. Go out, count your numbers, and then come back next week and let us know how many people you made smile this past week. Just try it.
That's a nice activity, Jimmy. But we are gonna start wrapping it up. So Debbie is on the stage. Thank you for joining, Debbie. Let Debbie have the floor for a minute or two, and then we're gonna wrap it up because it's 11. So go
Okay.
ahead, Debbie.
I already won that contest, Jimmy.
I don't doubt it.
Everywhere I go, and I go to the hospital twice a week, physical therapy twice a week, and everything in between. And I live in assisted living, so and on the other side is a nursing home. So I have lots of opportunities to smile at people, and
Nice.
I do. And um even in the hospital corridors, there'll be nurses and doctors. They'll be looking down at their phones and doing stuff. And as I get close to them, I say hello, and they look up and I smile, and
Mm-hmm.
they always are like, "Oh, well, hi," and they smile back. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, most people are so wrapped up in their phones nowadays. And even in all the waiting rooms I'm in, which are a lot, I I'll sometimes say to my gosh, I just hate it when everybody's looking at their phone. People don't know how to have a conversation anymore. There'll be always at least one person in the room that is not looking at their phone that you can say that to.
Yep.
And everybody just kind of looks up and kind of like and like kind of puts their phone down for a minute, and they'll say something like, "Yeah, it's too bad people don't know how to conversate anymore." And then there'll be a whole conversation with everybody going.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say
It's awesome.
is that when you're talking on the phone, whether they can see you or not, people can tell if you're smiling or not.
Yep.
The way
100%.
your voice comes through, they know if you're smiling. And I always try to make sure. I mean, I'm not always smiling, of course. And lately I've been bawling my eyes out over my cat having
Mhm.
cancer. I can't even go there.
Okay.
But if you can try to smile before you call somebody, especially if it's somebody you owe money to, like the electric company or something, always start with a good attitude. And I always say, "Hello, this is Debbie Moore, and I'm calling for so and so." And I found out if I use that kind of a nice voice right off the bat, and even if I've got to call back or they've got to call me back, I end every call with, "Will you have a good day?" Even
Mhm.
if I'm bawling my eyes, I'm trying to do that. But it just, and also I learned that when I was in insurance sales too. And
Yep.
I made my living for a long time, but I loved it because all I looked at it was I was helping people because I sold insurance to people who had pre-existing conditions, and it was health insurance. And that was way back, and you couldn't get any insurance without it if you had pre-existing, including myself, because I already
Right.
had lupus, and I knew I couldn't get insurance. And then this lady that was wanting me to come to work for him, she says, "Well, will you come to work with me if I can get you some health insurance?" I said, "Sure," because I knew darn well she wasn't going to get me any. 3 weeks later, she walks up in my driveway doing like this with the papers in her hand. She says, "Health insurance." I'm like, "Oh crap!" Because I had a
Mm-hmm.
salary job, and I had to give it up because I promised I would go to work for him, and it was solely commission, and I had a family to support, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
But it worked great. It was the most it was the most fun I ever had, and I would drive 2 or 3 hours to somebody's house to help them get insurance, and every call ended with a big hug.
Mhm.
They were happy, I was happy, and then when the insurance, my nose is itching. I'm allergic to cats. I got one, but I'm still allergic to them. But it just it just it was just, I don't know. It was a very fulfilling job, and
Um,
I was very happy. I felt more fulfilled in that job than any job I ever had. Because a lot of people say, well, what's the point of having insurance? All they do is rip you off
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even need it. I'm like, yeah, you don't need it until you need it. And
Yeah,
then you're
sure.
really glad you got it. Because back
Right.
in my mama had that cancer policy you got, Jimmy Aflac. I sold it to her, and,
Yeah,
and
that's
that thing
awesome.
paid for itself 1,000 times over. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'll
Oh, well,
get off
thank
of
you,
here.
Debbie.
I just wanted to say hi to everybody and smile.
Thank you,
Oh,
Debbie,
So,
and I'm sorry for the loss of your pet, or your pet
oh,
oh
didn't
he's not
yeah.
gone yet. He's
not
not
gone yet.
gone yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm
No,
sorry.
He's
I
sick.
don't want him to go. But I mean,
Right.
I know it'll happen. But right
Right.
now, the vet's got him on some prednisone, and he started back eating. He's only 3. He just turned
Oh,
3 in
dang, that's young.
September, and he
Wow.
lives with me in assisted living. And I mean, I've been through hell the last 2 or 3 years, and
Yeah.
he's
Mm-hmm.
been right here with me. And I feel so guilty if I have to go in the hospital because he's by himself. But everybody here, all the staff loves him,
Oh,
and
good.
everybody's been coming to check on him and me because I've
Oh,
been
good.
bawling my eyes out for days just because I found out that that
Yeah.
never even crossed my mind that could be what was wrong with him. Never, because
Ay,
he's a
bendito.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and by the way, I have one other announcement to make. Um, September 10th, my great grandson was 1. Okay, December 11th, my great granddaughter will be 1.
Oh,
But
wow.
the one that has the daughter that's 10 months old now is about 2.5 months pregnant, and we found out she's having a boy. So
Oh.
Oh,
I mean, you know what? Some people think having your kids real close is not good, but my kids grew up like that, best buddies,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and sadly it didn't end that way. But life happens.
Oh,
Some
thank you,
people say
Debbie, for
shit
sharing
happens.
that.
Yeah, well, anyway, so I'm going to be a great grandma for the 3rd time, and I'm not even
Wow.
65 yet. At least not till
Congratulations.
Wow.
February. Not till February. Then I'll be 60. Okay. Well, good
Oh,
night,
thank
y'all.
you,
And
Debbie.
Thank you for
yeah, well,
sharing, Debbie.
hi to everybody in the chat and love y'all and
Yeah.
say bye now. Okay.
Thank you,
All
Debbie.
Night.
right. Good night,
Okay.
Debbie. Oh, that was
So I
nice.
guess I guess my final words for this evening, Ruby, would be this. The reason I wanted to mention this tonight is
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to see, you can mark this down. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to see a lot of crazy things take place. You're going to have
Yeah.
things that are very confusing. You're not going to understand what's going on. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just want folks to maybe be grounded and
Mm-hmm.
not freak out when they see. I've been impressed with you because when Trump got shot, you called me, you freaked out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that happened. It was natural.
Yep.
Then a year and a few months later, Charlie Kirk happens. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't react the same way that you did
No.
with the President Trump thing.
No,
So
I didn't.
that shows
Yeah.
growth. That shows me to me that you're growing in that aspect of,
Mm-hmm.
just hey, let me see what happens here, what's going on. So, and not living in fear, because they're going to
Right.
push fear. They're going to push a lot of things that they're going to try to manipulate you with. And I want folks to resist that
That.
manipulation.
Right.
That's why I
Right.
shared this tonight.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy. My last thought would be not to be afraid to say certain things or to have certain opinions like the way I do. I'm not afraid to be called sexist or any other name for that matter. Um, I proudly explain things the way I see it. Those are just my opinions, and we are entitled to all of them. But don't be afraid to explain those things, because of course, not everyone is going to be happy. You can't please everyone, and some may get offended. But when it comes to me, I'm not afraid of those things anymore. So I'm okay with saying the things that I say on here. and
Mhm.
I'm okay with the reactions even within the chat. I'm okay with those things because it doesn't affect me anymore. So I'm perfectly fine with those opinions and stances. Wrong or right, I'm fine with it. And I
Mhm.
hope that alongside your message of not being in fear, everybody can take away also not being in fear to actually have opinions and stick to them, like not be wishy-washy when it comes to it, because certain people are around, or you may think like, oh well, I have to be politically correct or something because somebody's here, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like that. I am me, in and out, and that's just the way it is. So that would be my last thought.
Speaking of that, Ruby, I have one other thing I want to share with everybody.
Okay.
And if you've stayed on and watched our live this long tonight,
Yeah, because we
thank
were
you.
supposed to end this already.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we're going to end. I'm going to read this, and then Ruby can just abruptly end the show, and we can pick
I
up on
will.
this. We can pick this up next week. All right.
Okay.
So a lot of folks, they hear me say stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, Jimmy, I can't believe you're saying that. That's not real. That's not happening, blah, 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 blah."
Mhm.
So I get that. That's okay.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to throw this out here, and we're going to end the show, and maybe we can start up with the next week. So when I say this, write down your thoughts and share it with us.
Okay.
So it's into the conspiratorial realm.
Mhm.
So we'll end it. All right. Anyway, this comes from OG Anon661 on X, and they post, "Is it truly out of the realm of possibility that multiple well-known people over the past 2 decades plus may have had to fake their deaths either to escape being killed or for bigger reasons? What if they were approached by the Q team and told they were instrumental to the Great Awakening? What if they were all carefully chosen with a specific purpose in mind? Chosen for their knowledge, chosen for their fame and reach, chosen for their color of their skin, chosen so when they've revealed as alive, the public at large has no choice but to believe them. Is it really that crazy of a scenario given everything we've seen and know is going on? How many blacks would rally around Chadwick Boseman or Michael Jackson or Kobe Bryant? How many Gen Xers would rally behind Chris Cornell? How many Gen Zs would rally around Chester Bennington? How many conspiracy nuts would rally around Isaac Cappy? And how would the world react if a certain son of Camelot suddenly appeared alive and well? Would the world rally around him? Just a theory that rattles around in my head from time to time. Sounds crazy, I'll admit, but do me a favor. Think about it. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And good night. Thank you, Jimmy.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right. Good night.
Trump, yeah, okay, bury him a legend, yeah, Trump, hey, okay, America's biggest blessing, free speech advocate, packing, never lacking it, I just bought another gun and ain't nobody taking it, gang, okay, the White House going crazy now, MAGA season, tell them liberals they can't break us down, it's up, they know